Namaste, and welcome to Transcend, your daily source of inspiration and spiritual wisdom. Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Transcend. If you feel inspired by this video, please like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel. If you feel really inspired, you can help me produce more YouTube videos by becoming a patron for my Patreon account that you can find in the info under the video. In this video, I want to tell you guys why I left USA when I was 18 years old. Why did I leave this country? And what did I go seek for? So, I went to India when I was 18, and the reason why is because I was deeply hankering for spiritual knowledge ever since I was about 15 years old. I was experiencing, my high school years were very filled with turmoil, and mainly that happened because I experienced my best friend being killed while he was skateboarding, and this happened right in front of my face. So it was a very shocking thing, and it changed my life forever. From that moment on, where I experienced death, that was the first time I experienced uncommon death. In this world, I experienced that the world isn't a place of happiness. It's a place, there is happiness here, but inevitable pain and suffering. And a lot of times it doesn't make sense. Most of the time it doesn't make sense. So I couldn't understand why my friend was killed. Why did I live? Why? He was just a young kid, 15 years old. What could he have done wrong? At least that wrong. You know, everyone makes mistakes, but he wasn't a murderer. He wasn't a bad person. He was actually a good guy, a nice person, and he was smart. And so I couldn't understand, why would this happen to such a person? Why do good things happen to, why do bad things happen to good people? And so in my mind, I began deeply investigating all these things, just trying to understand. I was reading all the religious books over the course of, from my age 15 until 17. I was just reading all the religious texts, trying to understand what life after death is. Why am I even here in this world in the first place? Why is my soul? I always knew I had a soul, but I just didn't know why am I a soul? Why am I in this material body that's clearly temporary, as I experienced with my friend? And what is the point of all this? So gradually I became introduced in Buddhist philosophy, and I really took to it. It really vibed with me. The whole karma, reincarnation, meditation, seeking the truth through the mind, through the subtle energy. This all made so much sense. As I did psychedelics and I meditated, I became very serious. I gave up drugs when I was, I stopped doing drugs really when I was 17. I just started meditating, and I was really into meditation, and I would meditate for an hour or two a day, and I would experience things. I became a vegan due to meditation. I saw visions. So many things were happening. As people who meditate, these things happen. And so my life was changing drastically, and I came to Buddhist philosophy and I loved it, and there was a Buddhist center that I would go to all the time, and I would study with them and meditate with them. But then I was finding that the people in the Buddhist community, how awesome they were, yet something was really lacking. There wasn't I wasn't fulfilled. I was not finding contentment with their teaching, with their meditations. I wanted a higher esoteric knowledge of the divine, and I couldn't understand it. I didn't believe in God at that time, but I knew there was I thought that I was God. But of course that doesn't make sense, because why is God an illusion? If I'm God, why don't even I know my own self? So that doesn't really make sense. So I didn't know what made sense, but I knew spiritual life was real and I wanted to understand it. So I took a progressive course through different spiritual teachers in USA. I came in contact with Amachi, the hugging saint. I went to one of her week-long retreats with some of my friends. I did Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's program of transcendental meditation. I read through all the paths, especially Hinduism and Buddhism, and I really trying to understand it. Some of them vibed with me more than others, but in the end, I realized that something's not right. I'm not content. What these people are telling me is not fulfilling my life. And so I made the decision. I felt this great calling in my heart saying, go to India, find a spiritual teacher, find your true calling, find your heart's aspiration. And so I made the decision to go to India. When I was 18, I bought a one-way plane ticket and I got on a plane to India. And I lived in temples where Shaktas are worshipping, where I lived in temples where people are doing great Vedic sacrifices to the goddess Durga, and where people are practicing Tantra, where people are doing fire sacrifices. So many different rituals and practices and types of meditation. I was trying so many different things. And eventually, at one point, there was a situation where people wanted me to engage, one guru wanted me to engage in sexual tantra with some other people who were at the ashram, and I didn't really feel comfortable with it. I didn't think that that was my path to enlightenment, and I felt like, no, meditation and divine awakening is my path. Tantra, sex, it's too much for me. It's not right. So I left that ashram and I journeyed to a Krishna temple in Mumbai. And the monks took me in there. I lived with about 200 monks, and they took me in, and it was a very nice time in my life. And through my studies there, of course, I had so much Buddhist samskaras, impressions in my heart, that I was fighting the philosophy of bhakti, divine love to God, every step. Every step. I was doing everything that the monks told me to do. I was reading all the time, all the philosophies, and I was doing everything. Yet my mind couldn't accept how bhakti, divine love, how there's two persons. Why aren't we merging? Why isn't enlightenment to merge? Why is it yoga, where there's difference, two persons, yet divine love that connects them eternally? That's yoga. So I couldn't really understand that, and it was kind of hard. And this was a very difficult time of my life. I was crying all the time. I would cry just pretty much every day, just cry. And trying to understand, I was calling out to God. I was saying, God, I don't know if you exist. I don't know what exists, but anyway, I'm helpless and I need some help here. So if you do exist, please give me a signal. Please give me a sign. Please tell me personally what to think. I don't know. So, in course, by burning up my past karma, I was suffering and suffering and suffering, crying intensely. I would fall asleep at night crying every single night. And eventually, I won't talk about it because transcendental experiences are meant for the own person, and they're not to be broadcasted throughout the world. So, but I had some very transformational spiritual experiences that left me dumbfounded. I couldn't believe that it happened. I couldn't believe that something like this could happen. Really, I didn't. And so anyway, some spiritual experiences came to me, and my life was changed instantly, forever. And my Buddhist philosophies of merging into the divine, of dissolving the self, all of that, it was like a nuclear bomb went off in my mind, erased, everything erased. And I knew that what was my ultimate seeking? Not to be away from everything, which is nirvana, but to experience love in its true eternal capacity with divinity. That was my true aspiration. It was my whole aspiration the entire time, even from when I was a baby up until when I was at that point 18 years old. I was always seeking love, but it was always temporary, shaky, not eternal, conditional. It wasn't unconditional. It wasn't selfless love. It was selfish. I was trying to take things from people. I was trying to exploit them for I was trying to exploit their love, trying to exploit them in the name of love. Love. That was a misconception on my part. Love is something else, but its reflection in this world is lust, kama. So that was my realization, and that is what started my path on bhakti, and never looked back since then. And many nice things happened to me along the way. So many nice, once or twice or maybe a few times, some good realization will come to me, and that will be very kind. That will be the kind grace of God upon me. And anyone can get these realizations. It just takes crying. That's what it takes. It takes giving ourselves. Not thinking that we have it. Not thinking that we know it. That we will attain it. No. It's please come to me. Please, I'm begging you. Please be kind upon me. I am a fallen soul in need of help. Please give me your good divine guidance. Grace, shower your grace on me. So it's like that. And that's one aspect. There's many aspects. But anyway, that's the beginning, definitely. The humble beginnings of spiritual life. So that was how I came from, that's how my progression went. In a nutshell, of course. And how I came from just ordinary material life to Buddhism, to India, and towards bhakti. So maybe I'll talk about it more in another video, but that's good enough for now. So hope that some cool information for you guys, and thank you for listening to me while I talk about my journey a little bit, and I hope you find some benefit from it. Namaste, and thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.